Okay, thank you so much for having me. My name is Karuana Mwai. I'm a journalist and a human rights defender, Kenyan, but currently I'm based in German, in Bonn. It's a bit cold here, but I'm loving the place and I'm glad to be here with you. And my presentation, I'm going to share about the startup and investment ecosystem in Kenya. And I'm going to start. Kenya is often referred to as the Silicon Savannah, which is one of the leading countries in East Africa for setting up a startup. And of late, it has become an innovative tech hub, especially for mobile payment solutions, thanks to the success of M-Pesa, which is a platform that allows easy transaction of money for the customers to seamlessly pay for their products and services. The startup ecosystem in Kenya is relatively young, but it is ranked as the third best in Africa and first in East Africa with over 1,000 startups in different sectors. That is according to the latest data from Startup Blink. Um, so, what are the current trends in startup ecosystem in Kenya? So, Kenya startup scene remains stable in 2000 and 2023, and it is ranking currently as the 62nd globally. The country has two cities, that is Nairobi and Mombasa. Nairobi being the capital city, and Mombasa is also one of the biggest cities in Kenya in the global top 1,000 for startups. And the most represented sectors in Kenya are the energy and the environment. We also have the food tech, e-commerce, and transportation. But that is not to mean if you don't have any other business idea, you cannot venture it in Kenya. Of course, there are other areas that are highly competitive, including health. And this is because health is a fundamental human right. We also have the education, and of course, Kenya is gets most of its money from the tourism industry. So the tourism industry and the hotel industry is also a good business idea opportunity, and the textile and clothes. That includes new clothes and also the second-hand clothes. So let's focus a little bit on Nairobi being the capital city. So Nairobi is the leading hub for Kenyan tech, and it hosts 97.4 of the startup. This is data tracked by Disrupt Africa, and it's also a home to several accelerators, incubators, co-working spaces such as the Nairobi Garage, which make it quite easy for businesses to operate even if you do not have a building or a physical building for your colleagues and for your employees, and innovative hubs that provide mentorship, training, funding, and networking opportunities for entrepreneurship. And some of the notable players in this space are iHub, NILAB, Mest Africa, Growth Africa, Climate Innovation Center, the Konza Technopolis Development Authority. We also have Safaricom, among other organizations. And we find that in Nairobi, there's so much support from the government as well as the key players within this market. Now, let's look at some of the strengths and opportunities that you can have in Kenya if you're trying to venture in a startup or entrepreneurship or you're an innovator. So the Kenyan startup ecosystem has several strengths that make it attractive for investors and entrepreneurship. And first is because it has large and growing population of over 54 million people with a high mobile penetration rate of over 90%, which creates a huge market potential for digital solutions that can address various challenges and opportunities in the country. And if I may mention, we also have most of the universities are based in Nairobi. For example, we have the Nairobi University. We also have Technical University of Kenya and KU, which is Kenyatta University, which means there are so many young people. And with young people comes a demand for various projects, for various ideas, for various products and services. Second, it has a diverse and talented pool of entrepreneurship who are solving local problems with innovative ideas. So, according to Disrupt Africa, 17.9% of Kenyan tech um, startups have at least one female founder, which is higher than any other tier one ecosystem in Africa. And also, half of the Kenyan startups have participated in some form of accelerator or incubator program, which shows their willingness to learn and grow. Um, I might be biased because you realize in this presentation, mostly I have focused on tech, but most of the businesses and most people are moving towards digital programs, digital products and services, and anyway, the world is going digital right now. And also there is also supportive and collaborative ecosystem that fosters knowledge sharing, partnership, and co-creation among different stakeholders. For example, we have NEAR Kenya, which is a regional hub that supports and represents the African community, building disruptive technology on NEAR Protocol, a blockchain platform that enables developers to create scalable and user-friendly application. We also even have content creation hub platforms. Um, Such as Nairobi Baraza. So they offer mentorship and training to content creators, may it be YouTubers, may it be bloggers and vloggers and podcasters. And then you can easily be able to proceed with your business where you get the mentorship, the training, and sometimes funding. So another thing is that Kenya has attracted significant funding from local and international investors, breaking records in 2022. But you can look at this point both positively and negatively in the fact that some funding comes in form of loan and others is just in form of donors. So sometimes when we have like the high loan Kenya is having, that means we have debt and that can come down to being taxed. But at the same time, when we have money that the government sometimes provides to young people and the women and other people within the minority groups to be able to venture in their business ideas, and whether it's a solo or whether as a group, that you can look at it as a positive thing. So also Kenya has a strong trade and investment relationship with many countries and regions such as China, India, Europe, USA, and other countries. This enables e-commerce, like you can be able to easily do your business from another country, and then you can ship to Nairobi, among other cities in the country. So, but that does not mean that Kenya does not have, like any other business market, you find that you have the opportunity and you have the challenges. So, what are the challenges that we have? So, the Kenya startup ecosystem also faces some challenges that need to be addressed to unlock its full potential. And one of it is the regulatory environment, which can be complex and uncertain for startups operating in highly regulated sectors such as fintech or health. For instance, in 2020, the Central Bank of Kenya introduced new licensing requirements for digital lenders that aimed to protect consumers from predatory practices. However, some industry players argued that these regulations were too restrictive and could restrict innovation and access to credit. We also have to look at it right now. We have a new government, and the new government also comes with its new forms of policies and regulations and even taxing. So as a startups, it might become unstable sometimes because for example, right now we are looking at a time when we are having high taxes, and even Kenyans went to the streets to riot and about to protest about this taxation system. So that's another factor you can look at. And another challenge is also the access to talent, especially for technical roles such as software developers or data scientists. Currently, and this is not in the research, but I have done a survey previously, and most of the students, especially those who are studying in tech or even in health, they study with the aim of going abroad to get better jobs. So you find that most of these students, they study in Kenya, but after studying in Kenya, they're looking for greener pastures, better salaries, conducive working environment, and this leads them to move to other developed countries. So if you're trying to venture maybe in the tech industry and you're looking for your labor within the Kenyan setup, it might become a little bit hard. So some sectors also lack specific adequate policies or regulations to support innovation or protect consumers or investors. I think this relates to point one, especially if you're working in the fintech. Some fields are rather very new in Kenya, and so we do not have like regulations or policies that are supposed to work for these sectors. You overcome these challenges and seize the opportunities. There are some recommendations which you can look to. For example, you should be customer centric and market driven. Try to add, if you're looking towards starting your business in Kenya, for example, you have to try and understand the needs and preference of the target customers and validate your value proposition and business model with them. You can also find some of the research that has been done online by various organizations and try to be innovative and adaptable, leverage the latest technologies and trends to create unique and scalable solutions, and be ready to pivot or iterate based on feedback or challenges. And one way of doing this is maybe you can try attend some of the summits. For example, Kenya hosted the Africa Climate Summit. I think that's like in July, and there were so many people who are showcasing their ideas, either in climate change, in technology, but all toning down to climate change. And you can learn some of the innovative and adaptable technologies that people are coming with, and you can get business ideas and also how you can partner with this young and upcoming entrepreneurship. Also be collaborative and network to build relationship and partners with the ecosystem players such as the peers, mentors, advisors, investors, corporate, and the government. Sometimes some of the business startups in Kenya, you have to work closely with the government, especially if you're planning to work in the health sector, because there are various regulations and policies that come into play. And so if you're able to like find a way to partner with the government or corporate organizations that are already working in this sector, then it can be easy for you to start your business. Also, be resilient and persistent. Overcome the challenges and that you may face in your startup journey and keep learning and improving your failures or mistakes. That was recommendation for startups, and now we have recommendation for investors. You have to be proactive and diverse. Try and explore the untapped or undeserved segment or sectors of the startup market and diversify your portfolio and risk exposure. Also, be supportive and value adding. Provide more than just capital to your portfolio startups, such as mentorship, guidance, connections, and resources. Um, I did attend a campaign that was done by one campaign on employment, increasing the rate of employment in Kenya and Africa. And some of the gaps that young people are saying is mismatch. So if you're starting an organization, then it might be a good thing if you offer mentorship and guidance so that you don't end up mismatching your employees' skills with the job. And that's a big gap that you're having in Kenya. Also, be patient and long term oriented, understand the realities and complexities of the startup ecosystem, and align your expectations and returns with the startup potential and growth. And again, you should be responsible and impact driven. Consider the social and environmental impact of the investment and adhere to the best practices and standards of responsible investing. Um, so I try to talk to a few of the guys who are successfully operating their entrepreneurship in Kenya, but young people. One of them is Paul Pere. Paul Pele is the founder and CEO of Africa-based More Expenditures and is based in Nairobi. He operates a tourism business where he offers and provides transport as well as accommodation for tourists. And he say was that the opportunity for him that he fights is working as a travel agent in Nairobi gives me the chance to provide distinctive and customized travel experience while introducing individuals to the diverse cultural fabric of Kenya and beyond. But the challenges is the rise of online booking platforms such as booking.com and of course competition from well established companies. And I think this again brings us back to tapping and into the innovations and current technologies. The next person I talked to is Leshan Pereto, who is the founder and CEO of Tareto Africa. This is a non-profit organization and also a social enterprise. So he says that running Tareto Africa to provide for sexual and reproductive health commodities to girls and women has not only allowed us to do business but also enabled us to create an impact in improving access to reproductive health and rights to vulnerable girls and women. This organization produces sanitary towels, which are eco-friendly. So the opportunity that they have here is tapping into technology in generating sanitary pads which are eco-friendly and reusable. But the challenges they're saying they face is high taxes imposed by the government have made the cost of doing social enterprise to be very expensive. I think I'll end my presentation there. I hope I gave you an overview or an insight of what it might mean to explore and start your business in Nairobi. If you have any question, I'm happy to take one. Thank you.